introduce her in just a moment. I just want to give people time to jump on. So excited about talking to you guys about this topic we have here. Considering everything that's going on in the world today, it's a little cray cray outside right now, honestly. When it comes to our economic status here in the United States, lots of us are struggling, I would say. And then, some of us may not be struggling. And maybe those who were used to not struggling is now on the struggling side. So these are all things we're going to kind of explore today together. And as always, we want to make sure we maintain respect as we are accepting any comments and questions and things that people have to say in the chat box area. I love that you guys are chatty. Keep it up so we can make sure we're helping you guys out there in the community because it's all about community, but we do have to maintain respect. We do understand that everybody's coming from different backgrounds, have different points of views. But as long as we maintain respect, I don't have a problem with those differences. And we are not necessarily a political channel. However, the things that we do discuss when it comes to firearms, guns are very political. So I can't really get around the political conversation. So we do have to touch on that a little bit today, especially given the current situation that, lots of government employees are losing their jobs. And then as a result, you have different departments of the government also being dismantled or shut down and causing people who have contracts with the government to suffer and things like that. So it's a whole nice little, ripple effect that's going on today's world in reference to these things. And we're going to shed some lights on this in a financial standpoint and a mental health awareness. Because, we deal with firearms. We got to keep our mental health up to date. So without further ado, I'm Mrs. Trouble, if you don't already know. And if this is your first time joining this channel, please, please, please subscribe and press that notification button because I would love for you guys to maintain being notified once we do go live or any other videos we put out there to be able to help you guys. And I have with me today my special guest, Miss Kirsten.
Hi, everybody.
So she is a local banker in the DMV area, and she told me she would love to share her expertise as far as some of the things that she's learned at work, some of the things she's encountered here recently, and especially considering the things that we have going on with our government currently today. So as you guys may already know, also, when it comes to our mental health awareness as being firearm owners, we have to make sure we stay on the top tip shape about that. Because honestly, things can go pretty bad if you're a firearm owner and you're not keeping in check your mental health. And what's the biggest thing that most of us stress about is the money. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. So our first topic we want to talk about is really just making sure we understand our economic pressures of the everyday person right now. We have grocery bills being high as it is, rent and mortgage is high. And then we got this whole thing about government layoffs and government shutdown. So, Kirsten, when you started to see this whole government shutdown and government layoffs, what type of things did you notice about work that was a little bit different?
People started to come in. Withdrawals were being taken a lot. People wondering about their finances, of course, trying to have those conversations to say, okay, what kind of
I'm
penalty?
sorry, it's like a lot of interference on the back end there. I hear like a whole bunch of movement, or I don't know.
Sorry. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. It's
Yes,
just it's a background. It's something else in the background. Is it some noise in the background?
Can you hear me?
I think I hear you better now. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So what I've been seeing a lot from people coming inside the bank, just in general, like people always come in wanting to know, but especially when this pressure has been put on us and people are starting to lose their job, especially in this area, the DMV area, which I work in. I've been working in this area in banking for the past 7 years, 7 years going on now. I worked at 3 different institutions, but everything, like I said, you see people come in, but now, especially in this area, people are concerned. They're losing their job. They've gone from making over 100K to now their life is flipped upside down. So they are worried. They want to know what their options are. Like I said, they want to pull money from everywhere that they can and see what they can do, but they're confused because people don't know.
Right, right. Yeah, that is amazing that we're having these type of changes. I don't know. I'm still hearing a little interference on the back end
Sorry, I'm
there.
give me 1 second.
Sure, sure, no worries. So, what I'm understanding though, you guys, is I'm hearing what she was explaining. I can only imagine people pulling money out. I know even in my own field, being an entrepreneur, I'm noticing some of my clients say things like, "Okay, Mrs. Trouble, I need to wait a little bit about doing my training because I want to make sure I have enough money to last me into God knows how long because I might be losing my job here next week. It's a possibility I won't have a job." These type of things are being said to me, and I'm like, wow, this is, I feel so bad. I wish it was something more that I can do. And right now, this is my way of doing that. Maybe helping those who are not familiar with their financial options that they have. If you're going through this out here, if you're in fear for your job, if you've already lost your job, maybe hopefully today you'll leave with you some knowledge that's going to help you with your finances and help you sleep better at night as a result to this. So you were beginning to say that you have people come into the bank and want to withdraw money. When you see things like that happening, do you start to initially like ask a little deeper questions? Like if there, I guess what, I guess my real question would be is, what is an indicator for you that maybe you need to ask some deeper questions? Is there a certain dollar amount that you see them taking out, or is it some, inconsistency with how much money they normally take out that make you start to ask more questions about how you can help them better?
So if somebody's coming to just do a general withdrawal, like they say, okay, they go to the teller, I want to withdraw 10,000. Okay, that's a huge red flag to me.
Hmm.
Even just not besides what's going on, because these days who walks around with $10,000 in cash? Why
Right.
do you need that cash? So I'm
Hmm.
intrigued to know. I want to know more. Why do you need this money? Who are you giving this money to? That stems from us needing to have a conversation. Something is going on, so I need to have that conversation with you. Or when people come and they say, "Hey, my CD has not matured. I want to close my CD." That's another big red flag to me, because you're going to be charged money for your interest. So something has transpired to the point where you don't care about paying that penalty that you're getting charged on your CD, but you want to
Hmm.
withdraw the money. Well, if we go over the options and we sit down and we can have a financial review, then, but those are the things, those sudden withdrawals or like those large withdrawals that people say, or when people come in and they say, hey, I just want to review my accounts. Okay, what's going on? Why? People nowadays, especially, they're not coming inside of the bank unless you really need something. And
Right.
what we see is when you need it is when you never get it,
Mm. Mm. Okay.
because
Okay.
that's at the time you need it the most. Some people get it, but like for credit cards example, you need it, but you don't have those options. And it's sad because like you just said, when things like this happen and you don't have the resources, that's what happens.
Yeah, and you're exactly right on that though. I mean, I know in times that I've experienced taking money from like TSP accounts and things like that, it's very much like, why do you need this? And are you sure you need this? And oh, okay, are you definitely sure? Like, okay, where's your husband? I need him to sign off on it. And then this is gonna take so many days or however long it takes. And like you said, it's kind of like, no, I need this now. I need this right now. And so I can only imagine the panic that someone has. How do you deal with those people who are coming in there, need to take that money out, and you're asking them all these questions? Do you feel like they're getting like extra agitated about the process?
People, we have one of the hardest. People don't like to be questioned about their money. They don't understand. I'm just trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
So the responses I get, they're not anything nice half the time. Until once, I calm them down and I've said, "Hey, I'm trying to help you protect your money that you worked hard for." So
Mm-hmm.
no, they're not receptive to that, because
Mm-hmm.
especially once you add that pressure to them, especially if they've lost their job. Like for example, I've had clients come in, not just one, but several clients come in frantic. upset, irate. Like you can't figure out irate to the point. We're human and dealing in customer service. You deal with all kinds of people. So when you get human and you take off that hat, you get mad too. But those
Right.
are the times that you have to ask people to figure out like what actually is going on. So
Mm,
when you ask them, and like I said, it's been several instances where we've had to have those tough conversations with people and say, "Hey, look, you're not going to talk to me like this. I don't know what's going on, but what do you need?" Then that's when they start opening up and saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm just stressed. I don't know what to do." They
mhm.
went from you go to sleep one night thinking, "Hey, I'm making this amount of money no matter what it is." I mean, it could be $2 that you're making, but to go from $2 that you're expecting to have from nothing and you have a family to support, that's traumatic. That is
Yeah.
very traumatic.
Yeah, I can only imagine that amount of stress though. Like, if you are, for example, like the breadwinner in your home and, your spouse is a stay-at-home parent and you guys have multiple small kids and things like that. I can only imagine the amount of stress that one person has on them and that's causing so much strain in their family. Oh my gosh, because now you're questioning me about what I can do with my own money that I worked hard on and I need right now because I just lost my job. So I can only imagine the amount of stress that someone is going through and how they have a hard time keeping their composure, you know. Um, Funny story that's not quite exactly the same, but just my only real comparison, okay? I was in labor with one of my kids, and the nurse had told me, she said, you are one of the most pleasant present pregnant people in labor that I have ever met. She was like, the please and thank yous and all of that normally goes out of the window and the demands normally come, but you're still pleasing and thank you. And like, she was like, you're one of the most pleasant people in pregnancy that I've ever met. Um, I just have a hard time with taking out my anger and frustration when it has nothing to do with somebody who's trying to help me, especially somebody who's trying to help me.
Yeah.
My mom always told me you don't bite the hand that feeds you. So I'm not about to sit there and argue with somebody who's trying to help me with my finances. I'm just gonna try to understand you on your level and like let you know where I am, and we're gonna come to some grounds about some
Exactly.
things. Yes, and that's usually how I operate. But just real quick in the chat box area, DMV renovations. Thanks so much for joining. Hey, hey, hey. And I see you also, Linus Defense and Big Dad 444. Um, we should be for free. Stress is already high. You got a good point there, sir. If I indulge, because I
Yeah.
honestly don't. I really don't. I'm not interested in that world at all. I mean, obviously, I can't anyway. You can't mix weed and guns, It's
Yeah.
one of those things. You just can't. But even before then, I honestly just never been interested. So many people love it though. So that would be cool if it was free, right? Um, but when it comes to this whole kind of stress though that happens at work, have you ever experienced a time where you had to like call security because someone was just being too belligerent?
I told you I love these questions. All the time. I've been in a robbery twice. Once
Are you
at
serious?
gunpoint.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, once at gunpoint. Yeah, we in the bank. Our last resort is to call the police
Mm-hmm.
because it is a bank, and we know when we call, they're coming very soon,
Hmm.
sooner
Oh,
than later. So yeah, it happens. We have at least one irate client every day. Now,
that's
granted,
crazy.
I completely understand because I I know how I am about my money.
Mm-hmm.
So I know how people are. I don't know how I am about my money, and I'm calm. So I can only imagine how other people are. And when you tell people that are expecting money, no, you can't get your money or this or that money that they worked hard for, they don't understand that. And us as bankers all the time, like I don't take anything personal because at the end of the day, that's their money. But yeah, we have irate people all the time, all all the time.
Wow, that's too crazy. That's too unfortunate. I mean, is there certain things that they allow you guys to do as bankers? I don't want to reveal the secrets, so if it's just like one thing you can put out there that's not going to reveal too much, because I want you to stay protected. And but is there something like, are you able to bring any type of like less than lethal weapons? I know you can't bring firearms to work, but maybe you can bring some less than lethal weapons to work.
No.
Oh wow.
The one thing a universal that I can we do have things in place. But
Mhm.
one thing that I can say is the the banks don't need a hero. That's one thing I
Mm.
can say that they tell
Okay.
us they don't need a hero.
Hmm.
Do what they say, comply, and just yeah. But they don't need any heroes. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, that's definitely a good thing to know. And definitely, Big Dad 444, you were right there with me with the whole bankers need guns.
Honestly, I mean, it got the first time, or it was the second time that we were in a robbery. We were down on the floor. Actually, he
Mm.
passed the robber passed the teller a note,
Oh,
and
wow.
she didn't have the right amount,
Hmm.
and that just
Wow.
it went left from there. He made everybody get on the ground. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it looks like
Luckily,
you have
I
an
was
admirer.
Yeah, luckily I was in the back, so I was away from it. I saw it, but yeah.
Wow. So when it comes to, like people who are, do you have any red flags that you like to help people with if you notice that they are dependent on their credit cards or loans? Do you have any things like that that you would be able to help people with if you notice those type of things?
Yeah, with credit cards, like what do you mean red flags?
Like if you notice that someone's constantly, after as soon as they pay off a loan, they're coming back to get another loan. As soon as they pay off a credit card, they're wanting to get a better version of a credit card and things like that. Like, is that a red flag for you to say that they are dependent on these type of loans? And does your bank pretty much help them to not necessarily be as dependent on those things, or is that something the bank wants people to be dependent on?
We don't get funded unless you all have credit cards. I'm for credit cards so I can get paid. No, I'm joking. It's really banks. All our funding comes from loans, really, like mortgages, credit cards, things like that.
Hmm.
Um, I would say more so now. Like, I don't see a credit cards as much of a need. What
Hmm.
I see credit cards of a need are secured credit cards. People coming over who have, or not even people coming over, college students, even people who are in their 50s or sick, trying to build their credit, secured credit cards. The
Hmm.
banks do have things in place to help people. But like you said as well, there is nothing else in place to say, hey, you have too many cars. If you want 10 cars and you get approved,
Hmm.
you
So
know,
yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
is.
Hmm.
But I would say more so, me personally, I don't like to offer too many credit cards to my clients, even when they have the offers, because you
Yeah.
just don't need you don't need all those cards. If you have a cash rewards card at Capital One, and then you have a cash rewards card at Bank of America, cash rewards card and Navy Federal, why do you need all those cash rewards cards? You should have one cash card, one travel card, and then just one emergency card if you have to have all three cards. But I tell people all the time, one credit card and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I mean, honestly, because otherwise it's too much to manage, and then you overextend yourself thinking you can do this and do that, and then you have three bills, and it
Yeah.
just gets to be a lot. Definitely gets to be a lot.
And then
So,
the interest is so high now. Like,
yes,
it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
So it's looking like we have a couple of admirers here. So go block 45 and Michael. I see you guys there. We're gonna keep her location protected. Okay. So maybe you guys might see her around the DMV, maybe you will not. You guys can go and hang out at the range. You might catch her at the range. Okay. Did that make you guys a little bit more fearful this time? So she is a student of mine, you guys, and that's how we met. So her, her and a guest. I don't want to reveal who she came with, but basically they came to get a little bit more knowledge about firearms. Did your experience at the bank being held at gunpoint have anything to do with why you wanted to own a firearm or use a firearm?
Yes, it has a lot to do with it because I I have a 2 year old. I want to make it home to my
Hmm.
son. And like I say, all we always joke, but this is so serious. They don't need a hero. And I
Yeah.
don't want to be their hero. I don't want it to come between life or death. And just the stories that we hear because we do deal with people's money. There have been instances my manager has waited outside and clients have followed her, or
Wow.
you just never know what state people are in and how they'll follow you or what they
Hmm.
will do because you can't do what they need at that moment. So that did prompt it.
Yeah, I bet it did. I bet it did. And I mean, honestly, even like, when I worked in corporate America, I can say I used to work at a place where I had somebody who was, I guess I should say, an admirer of me. And I told my husband, and he was like, oh, okay, bet. I didn't know for a good while that this guy disappeared and stopped showing up there because my husband had confronted him. He literally came to my job when I wasn't paying attention and, sat out there in the parking lot in the car and just waited for this guy. So he actually encountered him and was like, dude, that's my wife. Like, you need to fall back. So I didn't know for a good long time. He finally told me one day, but just, it's funny you say that you don't know if someone's following you after work and things like that. And that's pretty much what happened. The guy waited till I got off of work and was like trying to press up on me. And I was like, deuces, go somewhere. Like,
Yeah, that's so scary. Like,
yes, yes. He was being a little bit odd. Definitely. But I worked in a really bad area too. So that didn't make it
yeah.
no better. I always was encountering somebody and had to like deal with people. So yeah. So someone said you got a man to protect you. I can see you're a Superman, respectfully. DMV renovations, he did not. We are not making those claims, sir. So, but when it comes to this stuff, man, I tell you, it's you can't be too safe out there. So you just got to keep your head on a swivel, honestly. And even just being out and about, you can't just like walk from your car to your house and not have your head up and see what's going on. You can't have your head in your phone. You have to really like pay attention. Because have you heard of or have you experienced anybody even asking you or try to encounter one of your coworkers to get information about the bank when you guys are not at work so they can get intel? Have you guys
Oh,
had any situations like that?
you know, because I'm only 28. So like I said, I've been in banking since I'm 22. So a lot of my clientele is young, so yes. Yes.
Okay, okay.
But
Yeah,
like I always say, they'll give you a slap on the wrist. They're sending me the long mile, and I don't want to do the long mile.
right, right.
So
I
no.
bet. I bet,
Yes.
yeah, I bet it is so much worse for you guys when it comes to things like that. Um, and you guys, honestly, my husband definitely is a protector for sure. Just thinking about the checkbox area here. And so you hope he used the Glock. Look now, global Glock. One thing about my hubby, he don't have no favorite gun. I'm the one that got a favorite gun. He ain't got no favorite one. He like them all. Anyone that go boom, he good with it. Yeah, so he's the armor, he's the everything else that come in between. So he know a thing or two about pretty much everything. So it don't matter what kind of gun it is for him. So I would like to jump onto this, like, mental health kick here. I mean, when it comes to do you guys see anybody have like serious like mental breaks while they're there dealing with their finances? And if so, what
Yeah.
kind of steps do you guys take to be able to assist with that?
You see, especially elderly people getting scammed. That's
Oh, that's hard.
the it's hard to tell them that they're not getting their money back. There's nothing I can do.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard. There will It's money that they worked hard for, that that they've had, and elderly, there's everybody gets scammed, but it's really bad with the elderly now, especially because they're more than likely against online banking. Oh, I don't do online. I don't do online.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're doing all this stuff, and unfortunately, you don't see it until you get your statement, or they call them on the phone, scare them, just different things like that. And it's sad because, like you just said, their mental is so believing, like, no, this happens. Or sometimes they won't tell us. We've
Mm-hmm.
had clients on the phone with the scammers, and we're telling them, I'm not giving you this is fraud, hang up the phone. They won't, because they're so scared. Now we're the
Oh,
bankers, we're standing there telling them, no, we're not giving,
yeah.
this is fraud, hang up the phone. But whatever these people are saying, they're so scared, so it takes their mental
Mm-hmm.
to a whole nother level. They'll say, the classic one that they use on elderly people is, oh, your grandchild has been arrested, you can't talk to them, you need to give me your money. Or people will come by, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on your roof. Or they'll send people checks, oh, I'm gonna do this and that, deposit this, send me a little bit of cash.
Oh,
It's
wow.
they're meant People literally will sit there, just like you said, it will take them to another place.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll be calm, sometimes they won't be calm.
Mm-hmm.
And in those situations, you never know. If they're just calm and just crying, you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you want to calm them down. But when they're irate, you feel compassion, but also you want to keep them calm, because especially in a bank, I've noticed when clients get irate,
Mm-hmm.
they look at the other clients, look at us bankers, like, they get a little nervous because you don't know what's going to happen. And people yelling in banks, that just, it doesn't happen like that.
Right.
So, like I said, if a client is irate, you'll understand them, you'll get it. Like, I've heard so many stories and seen so many stories where people think they're dating somebody online, they're sending money, and then they get their heart broke. And then when it's a situation
Oh.
like that, not only are you losing money, but now you were already in a bad mental state. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know what people's state is in, but they're already in a bad mental state to be believing whoever they met is who they say they are. So they're being catfished or whatever. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're telling them, oh, I love you, that we're going to be together. They're just believing all this. And then you take their money and they don't even have that relationship. People don't take too well to that.
No,
And
definitely not.
yeah, and then you tell them, oh, I can't do anything because you gave it to them willingly. That's
Right.
enough to make somebody snap.
Exactly. Exactly. We just need to go back to what our elderly did. Putting money under the mattress. Just need to go back to that, right? So looking at the chat here, Madwoman23 asks, as a banker, does it hurt you to say no to people knowing they need the money?
It depends on what the situation is.
Hmm.
If I know my client really needs the money, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they get that money. But if there's any red flag or just anything that doesn't make sense, I don't feel bad, because if I sign off to give that person the money and they come back and then you all one thing I say, when people lose money, they want to blame somebody,
That's the
and
fact.
you're going to blame me.
Hmm.
So I don't take risks with my clients and their money. I just don't. If I can't do it, or yeah, I sometimes I feel bad, but majority of the time, like I said, no, unfortunately I don't, because I'm protecting them and their money. Now, most of the time it's okay, but they train us to think everything is bad until proven good.
Mm, that makes sense. I would see that making sense. I mean, honestly, we had a really good scammer call us the other day. Me and Dee were just kind of hanging out, and they he was messing around with them. He always likes to play with them. So the scammer's calling, he's scamming them back. But when it came to the situation where they were like, okay, and so at what bank institute do you bank with? Or no, they were trying to tell us that they knew we bank with such and such bank institute, and we was like, okay, yeah, sure. And so going along with what they were saying, right? And they was like, okay, so we're gonna need you to move some money from here to there, or whatever. So we're gonna call your bank right now. We're gonna get them on the phone for you. And they literally called Bank of America, right? They called Bank of America, and you can hear the recording say, hello, you've called Bank of America. And then it stops. It's like a little pause. And then a foreign sounding voice came back on the phone that sounds similar to the dialect that we were hearing from the other guy, right? And so I'm already thinking to myself, first of all, that recording did not continue. Normally, after Bank of America says that, then it's like the AI type sounding voice that prompts you to press one for this, press two for that, or whatever. And so I'm like, yeah, they good though. But if I did not know that, I would have thought they were actually calling Bank of America. It's like they really took the extra mile to plan these type of scams out. Like honestly. And I'm so blown that we're not stopping this scam stuff. I cannot believe how many scam calls I get almost on a daily basis. I'm so annoyed with them, as a matter of fact.
It's no way to
Yeah.
stop these. I mean, people ask us all the, and that's a good thing that you just brought up. People ask me as a banker all the time, "What are you guys
Mm.
doing to stop the scams?" I
Exactly,
I
sir.
wish I could. They call me too. Unfortunately, I get the same calls. It's
Mhm.
like they're clever. They
Yeah.
know your mom. They know your mom's name. They know where your mom lived. They're doing
Yeah.
this research to really make people believe that yeah,
They are.
they
They
are
are who
who
they
they
say they
are.
are. Yeah.
But then sometimes, like we tell people all the time, and I know this is for everything. We don't call you.
Mhm.
We're we're not going to call unless like a courtesy call or maybe like,
Mhm.
hey, how are you doing? Well, we're not gonna ask you your account information, anything of that, anything of that nature. All your bank is gonna say is, hey, how are you doing? We would like to invite you to come in to the bank. That's it. But all the like
Okay.
yeah, all the verifying information saying, "Hi, I'm your bank at so and so, and you have a bank account here." No, we're not
Mhm.
gonna do that because
Mhm.
for one, when people call, like I always tell people, when people call you, I already have your information. I
Right.
don't need you to tell me.
Mhm.
But also, we're over the phone,
Right.
and I haven't properly authenticated you. When
Mhm.
those scammers call and they start having you verify and do all this stuff, when you actually call the bank, like I tell people, you have to think. When you actually call the bank and you say, "Hey, I'd like to speak to somebody," they ask you generally, what's the last four of your social name, birthday. They're
Mhm.
not asking you, "Oh, what account is here, what account is there, how much," they're not doing
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. It definitely is some more in-depth questions that the bank would never normally ask. It is that would make you get some red flags. It's just interesting because they definitely getting good with those scams.
They're
So
really good.
yeah. So let's see here. It seems like let's see. Someone else asks, let's see. James asks, their credit score is 500 and they need a loan for 10K. Do you got them?
So what you have to do is you have to apply and see what works best for you. If it's just 10K, I don't deal with credit. I don't know about credit. All I can say is from my knowledge, and
Mhm.
this is just my knowledge, but like I said, credit I don't deal with.
Mhm.
When it comes to if you just want 10K, then you have to say, then that's when you have to start pulling rates. If you
Mhm.
want something larger than 10K, depending, then yeah, maybe a personal loan. But if it's only 10K, shop around, see what the rates are for maybe a credit card. Maybe you
Mhm.
could get a credit card for 10K for a credit card, not just a personal loan. Shop around with the rates, because if you just need only 10K and you're talking about a personal loan, well, the personal loan, you may be able to get it for 10K, but what if that rate is 29.99%? But that
Mhm.
credit card rate that you're getting for 10K is 19.89%.
Mm.
You have to shop around with the rates.
That makes a lot of sense. That's really good advice. Thanks for sharing that. Definitely. So James also said on the real, what's the best bank to restore your credit? Is
In
there a particular way?
my opinion, I would say Bank of America.
Okay. Okay. And why? Why would you say that?
I see that they have a lot of credit cards geared to help people build their credit.
Okay. Okay.
That's one thing like I've seen. They really do help client. Not to say any other bank doesn't, but you just that's just my opinion. I think they have
Okay.
the best.
Okay. And Drew definitely said if you can stop those scam calls, he'd pay you. But definitely, I second that, Drew. I definitely second that. If she could stop these calls, you could stop these calls, Kirsten. You are big money right there. You probably quit working at the bank or anywhere for
Look,
that
if I can
matter.
figure it out, look.
Oh, that's too funny. And James, you say you hate that bank. Obviously, you had a bad experience with that one. Oh man, yeah, they
It's
blocked
okay. I
you.
don't bank there either.
And PNC is your okay. PNC is your choice. I hear
Well,
you. I hear you.
one time, this was when I was in college. Funny story about Bank of America. They were right up the street from my house. My aunt had wrote me a check, so I knew nothing about I thought, oh, I deposit a check Saturday, it's gonna be ready. Oh no, that's when I
Mm-mm,
learned you
mm-mm.
deposit a check on Saturday, it's not available till Tuesday. I never liked Bank of America ever since. Never liked Bank of America ever since. I was so mad. I sent my mom up there. I was, oh, they're not cashing my check. They're being rude. Oh, and she was like, when she came back, she was like, I know you didn't send me up to that bank for nothing. That's the rule. I didn't know, but ever since then, I agree with you. I did not like Bank of America. They gave me a hard time. See, and that goes back to when people don't get that. When it takes one bad experience to
Hmm.
not get your money, and that's that. Like I know that that was my fault, but it's just the fact I didn't get my money when I needed it in that moment.
Right. And I think I had the same experience. And somewhere around that college age as well, I was depositing a check and I had that same experience. And that's when I learned, oh, this stuff takes time. Like, what? What do you mean? I thought I can get this money right now. They like, no, no, no. I was definitely in my feelings for sure. And like someone else said, Mad Woman 23, hey, first of all, welcome, welcome. That overdraft fee is crazy. Definitely.
It is like the overdraft fee is crazy, but there are things in place. If you
Hmm.
have a credit card with that bank, link your card so that you don't get overdraft. Even if you
Right.
don't have a savings accounts don't have to just be linked for overdraft. Link it to
Hmm.
your credit card. If you got a mortgage, link it to your mortgage. If you got a line of credit, link it to your line of credit. If you only have a checking account, which most days people don't only have a checking account, link
Hmm.
it to another account so that you avoid those overdraft fees. And then also ask your bank, I don't want my payments to go through. I
Hmm.
tell people that you have the right to tell your bank, I don't want that. Us as bankers, when we open accounts, it's already set to go through because that's how, banks they make their money from fees and
Hmm.
loans and things like that. So you guys have to say and be the voice for yourself and say, no,
Hmm.
I don't want this to go through. Stop the transaction. No overdraft fees. Or like I said, link it to another account. It doesn't have to be a savings account, but that will
Right.
also help that overdraft. Or ask the bank, hey, what's my fee period? That's another thing.
What's
Also,
the fee period?
so your fee period is when you'll be charged from the bank. So, like, let's say different banks have different rules for overdraft. Some banks, like the bank, um, like it's some credit unions, some banks, they have different rules, like I was saying. They have rules where if you go negative in your account, they will give you up until 24 hours the next day to
Mhm.
make a deposit and bring your account positive. If not, then they'll charge you an overdraft fee. But those aren't things that they talk about. But specifically, your fee period is, like I said, when they charge you. So they'll go over your monthly maintenance fee. Have you
Mhm.
overdrafted in the account? Things like that. Ask them. And sometimes your fee period may be like, let's say I open an account today. Today is April 11th. My next fee period might be May 11th when they review my account again to do all these fees and things like that.
Right.
So
That makes a lot of sense. That's definitely a good tip. That's something I will definitely put in my pocket. And you just told me something else. I had no idea I can link it to something that wasn't like a savings account. I thought you could
yeah,
only link it to a savings account. I didn't know you could do
no,
other things.
you can
So
get to
yeah.
credit cards, line of credits, personal loans, anything, any other account that you have, you can link it. That will, if you have the money there, it will pull that money out and go right there so you won't be negative.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Well, while we are here with so many viewers, I would like to say anybody who's not already subscribed to the channel, please take the time to do so and make sure you press the notification bell so that way you can get notified that, we're live or that we have a new video coming out, which I think I'm going to drop the next video this Sunday, you guys. I'm going to do a premiere on Sunday for the next interview. So I think you guys want to make sure you keep that notification bell on so you can be notified when that interview comes up. It's some great advice about some things that's happening right now with our homeless in the DC area. So, and then also definitely go ahead and press that, like button, that thumbs up there, so others can actually see that this video is worthwhile and that they might be interested in this conversation. Hopefully, you guys are learning things like I am. Christian is over here just like educating me today. I'm excited about learning this because this is an area I can definitely do better with. So I really appreciate you coming in and sharing this information, honestly. So, Beyondra, I see that you said banks are played out now. You go with credit unions, and you get more money. So, what is your feelings about that, Kirsten? Do you think that credit unions are a little bit better with people being able to keep more money in some ways?
No, it's just in terms of the rates. That's
Mhm.
that's really it. That's really the biggest difference in like your banks or your credit unions are the rates. Now, banks are more lenient than credit unions, I
Mhm.
will say, when it comes to lending. Banks are more lenient than your credit unions, but then also your credit unions are going to have your better rates because they
Mhm.
are a little bit smaller. Whereas banks, like you got your Chase, that's the number
Mhm.
one bank in the world. So
Yeah.
yeah, their rates might be a little bit lower. Or like a Bank of America. I think Bank of America is like two or three top banks.
Mhm.
The rates might be a little bit lower. Whereas I think like just the standard rate for a savings account right now is like 0.01% with all banks. I think that's just like prime rate. It's standard right now. Whereas you might
Mhm.
go to a credit union and their rate is for a savings account 2.50, and you're like, what? Like what is going? I have Navy Federal. I'm a Navy stan. I get it. I get it.
Yes, Navy Federal is awesome. I agree with that as well. Definitely.
Look, I heard somebody say people when it comes to banking, like out of credit unions and banks, they said people with Navy Federal, we act like we're elite. And I think so. I think so. If you have a Navy, it's like, oh, I got Navy Federal. Like, you
Yes.
mean?
Yes. It's a whole nother ring to it.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll use my Navy.
Yes. So it looks like Big Dad 444 is trying to shoot his shot one last time. Are you single? He's looking for a beautiful queen with 700 credit score. Women with good credit is a good find. So where we are with that is your choice on whether you want to even address that. But it
I
would be
am
great.
not single, guys.
Sorry. Sorry, Big Dad 444. Maybe next time. Well, good thing is we know you guys at least have something in common. So you never know. You might find each other at the range or something. Who knows? So when it comes to this whole thing though, honestly, finances are just really kind of crazy. It's like a roller coaster, honestly. I feel like, some people, it might stay up for a good while, but then something happens with the economy, something happens with the stock market or whatever, and then they're just like really down. Do you find that there's like a racial divide? I mean, not to pinpoint certain like race or certain stereotypes, but just do you realize that there's a certain group of people that tend to have this experience over this group of people?
Yeah, oh, of course. Unfortunately, black people, like, we just know, we know our struggle. We know what we've been through, like, even
Hmm.
though as successful black people, we know just as a culture how hard it's been for black people in general.
Hmm.
We don't have the knowledge like other
Hmm.
races do. Even
Yeah.
now, I mean, and that I feel bad, but when I do see black people come in, I do tend to want to give more information because we don't know.
Right. Right.
We haven't been privy to know.
Hmm.
Whereas white people
Understand.
or others come, they have that knowledge. They know. Like, everything
Hmm.
that's going on right now, so many others in the bank. What's going on with my stocks? What does this mean?
Hmm.
Tariffs, and what is this? Like, we're having those conversations, but with us, like black people, unfortunately, we don't have those conversations because a
Right.
lot of the time we don't know,
Yeah. We don't
and
even know the
and
questions
yeah,
to ask
they
half the
don't
time.
know the questions to ask, and then most of the
Hmm.
time, unfortunately, we don't have those accounts that they have.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're looking at people, they trust fund babies, and then trust fund babies that are coming from being an engineer, like they're an engineer, things like that.
Hmm.
Whereas us, our line might be, okay, mom and dad real poor, I'm just making it. So
Hmm.
I have the knowledge, but I don't have all the financial knowledge that I should be privy to.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really it's really sad and unfortunate that things are like that. Like this is one of the ways in which I feel that people of color are still struggling to climb up the ranks on getting the knowledge of financial wealth. Like how do you get to that status? And I think it just starts with just like you're saying, getting the knowledge. Honestly, getting the information out there. Those things that you taught me about linking your account. You know, I would have never thought about that because I'm thinking it's only the savings account that I can link it to. And if I don't have the money in my savings account, then that ain't helping me with those overdraft fees. But if I got a credit card that's still good, okay, I can link it to that. And that would also help me not get those overdraft fees. Because that $25, $35 fee or whatever that's being charged for overdraft fees, obviously I've gotten them since I know how much that is, okay? Sad to say, but it's just
Look,
one
I
of
know
those
all about
things.
that $35 fee.
So it's ridiculous. I mean, I've had to fight tooth and nail about getting some of them things off of my account before. I remember I got like three back to back, and I was like, "How could you? Like, why would you even do that? You can't take nothing off. What you make? You can't take nothing. I want to speak to a manager."
I have what I'll never forget this. One man, he told me, he said, now, if I didn't have the money to pay it, why would you charge me $35? I said, sir,
Exactly.
I'm gonna try and get you your money back. Cause I didn't have nothing to say, cause it's true. It's like, I didn't
Yes.
have the money to pay for it, and then you paid it, and then now you want me to pay $35? That doesn't
Exactly.
make sense.
You should have just declined the thing and left me alone. I mean, I definitely agree with that. Honestly, it's one of those things where I'm just like, that is the craziest, absurd thing. I guess we have to have consequences, though. Honestly, the banks doesn't want us to overdraft, or we have our limits, basically, because that's obviously not our money that's being used to pay these things. I just feel like declining. If the money ain't there, decline it. Period. End of
Yeah,
story. Then I have to deal with it the way I need to deal with it.
yeah.
And
I don't
so,
want you
yeah.
to do anything. Yeah.
And what kind of ways can we physically do that with our accounts to help it not go into overdrive status besides linking it to another account? Is there something else we can do?
Checking your account balance every day, making sure utilizing your mobile apps,
Mhm.
guys. Utilize your mobile apps. from your financial institutions. I know when you go inside the branch, like I know when my clients sit down in front of me, I give them an overview,
Mhm,
snapshots of what they need, or I might say, "Oh, go look at this, go look at that." But sit down, take some time, maybe 10 minutes during your day and just explore your app. A lot of people don't know. There's so much that you can do on your apps, not just from one bank, but this is just general. You can
mhm,
order checks on through your app. You can order your debit card through your app. You don't have to have a temporary debit card when your debit card expires. Use Apple Pay or Google Pay on your phone through your app. Stop
mhm,
payment through your app. General question through your app. Um, Open an account through your app.
right,
Budgeting through your app. It's different tools and things that the banks have in place so that we can make it more convenient for you. And even some banks, like I said, online, on mobile banking. I know my bank for one, we have it. We have somewhere manage and budgeting spending in our thing.
right.
You can literally put your money in every month, or you can set goals, different things like that. Like I said, I know most banks have it. If you
Mhm,
say, okay, I know everybody, I know I'm like that. I'll say, oh, I have a goal. I have a
yeah,
goal. I know for me and myself, I like to see my stuff on paper. So if you put it in your app, and then you can see depending on how that financial institution's app is for the goals, you might say, okay, hey, I want to go. I just want to go to California by August. I know I need to save $500, and just play with that app and see and set up a new account. Just utilize your apps to see what your banks have to offer. It's
mhm,
much more than just your checking account, your savings account, your credit cards, and your loans. Like I can't stress enough. Utilize your apps. Utilize your apps. Utilize your apps. There's so
mhm.
many different tools and things that, like I said, are on the apps that are great and they help.
One of the things I started checking around too on my banking app is the fact that you have savings through other companies, things that I might normally shop for or taking a vacation or anything like that. You might be able to have savings to just go to some other establishment that's partnership with your bank by using your app. I mean, I'm at this point now, like, oh my gosh, my stepmom had encouraged me before to be like a coupon clipper, and I was like, I'm not doing that. That's just too much work. Like you got to do this, and you got to buy this amount, and like she was really into it, and I was like, this sounds cool. You got 10 things a game for only $3. That's awesome. I love the end result, but the work it takes to get to it, I'm not there. I ain't got time for that. So but I started to find like different things like the app on the bank where I can go to, maybe Old Navy or something that might be partnered with the bank and save 10% off of something I'm buying there for me or the kids. And I'm like, okay, I could do something like that. That works. So I like those type of things that I do notice on the app.
And I do like that you mentioned that, because a lot of people don't know, like how you're talking about rewards.
Hmm.
Unless you go in your app, guys, you will not know. See, everybody thinks rewards just come from credit cards. No, you can use your debit card to get rewards too.
Hmm.
Maximize, like, you have to utilize your apps. Like the banks, they give free money. So if they're giving you money to shop at these, like, I know some people, like you said, Old Navy, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Shell gas station, different things like Sunoco, you can
Hmm.
save 10%, 15, but like it doesn't matter. But like you just said, like I love that point that you just brought up. You don't have, like, that's my favorite thing about my debit card is
Hmm.
that spending, because you don't
Yeah.
have to use your credit card if you don't want to, but it works just like cash back, but you won't know, just like you said, if you weren't on the app.
Yeah. I honestly, and another tip for you guys is not about banking that I do often. I love to do. I shop at Giant a lot. I mean, and you guys know groceries are expensive. And with a family of six, I am spending a lot of money. I mean, seven, including the dog. So, because he doesn't even eat dog food, we feed him human food. So, so with a family of seven, groceries are expensive. And if you guys don't know, and if you shop at Giant, you have this rewards program through Giant. And every time you use your account, put your phone number or whatever card you have with their reward system, you get points. I have bought like different foods with my rewards or either get $1 off per 100 points. So it's really cool that I actually utilize that. There's times where I'll go and I'll be like, dang, I might be short $1 or two. I go into my little app and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's good. I could use these points to pay for this. Voila, done. Little things like that. I'm so excited that I've actually gotten to this point where I don't mind to take the time to look at these different apps and rewards and stuff. And like, even if somebody shops at like Family Dollar on Saturdays, every Saturday, they give you a coupon every Saturday. You're spending $20 to $25, you get like $5 off, something like that. I forget what the exact number is. I haven't been there in a while, but things like that goes a long way. It's like a little bit of money, but it just adds up and adds up and adds up. So, if you guys are, penny pitching like I have been doing for a good while, messing with this stuff that's going on, I've been really budgeting a lot lately. Things like this really does help, honestly.
And also, guys, we are in hard times. Go to your banks if you have time. Ask them, am I in the right account? You might
Hmm.
be in an account that worked for you two
Mm,
years ago, but the way the economy is now, you need to downgrade that account so you can cut down those costs.
yeah.
Have those conversations because people don't know either. Sometimes, like I said, when people are coming in, they're going through financial things, and I start doing that review, and I say, oh well, let's help you cut down some of these costs. I'm gonna change your account from this high one, put you in this one. Your account number is not changing, your debit card is not changing. It's just the things that you don't really use. That's just the only
Mhm.
difference. So if
That's
you can go from an account that's actually $15, all bank accounts have fees. Now, if
mhm.
you're paying those fees, then most of the time it's from direct deposit. But even if you don't have your direct deposit, you might be in an account that has a fee of $10, but you should be in the account with the $5 fee.
Mm.
But
That
you won't
makes
know.
sense.
Yeah, you have to ask.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, DMV renovation. That was a good one right there. The Netflix, Hulu, and etc. Oh my
They
gosh.
just keep going up.
I literally sat down with Dee one day and we went over our finances and determined that we were spending $150 worth of subscriptions. $150. And we didn't really have a clue that we were doing that. And so so he said, yep, same amount, 134, 150. Yep, we were definitely in that price range of subscriptions. So we definitely had to cut some stuff. Obviously, the kids says, Mom, we don't have Hulu no more. Nope. That call your auntie. Mom, what happened to Disney Plus? Oh, nope, we ain't got that. You better call your papa. It's like we were just cutting stuff because it was like, this is crazy. This is great. He got cable again. Did realization.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, he got
just
cable
get a
again.
Fire Stick. I mean, you still
Yes,
have to pay for stuff, but
yes,
even Disney Plus, Disney Plus, I'm like, okay, y'all are creeping up on $20.
yes, yes.
I'm like,
Well, I did
okay.
find out through T-Mobile, for example. T-Mobile also is one of those things that gives you a little loophole with some stuff. If anybody has T-Mobile out there, I can tell you that Netflix is covered through T-Mobile. You just let T-Mobile know you want them to pay for it, and they're gonna pay for it. Now they're gonna give you the low end one, so you want to have advertisements and all that. So if you want to upgrade it so you'll get advertisements, then you might have to pay $5 or something like that. But at least you don't got to pay the whole bill. But little stuff like that,
Wow.
yeah. And then they
Let
have
me
the
call T-Mobile.
T-Mobile Tuesdays. Yeah, they got T-Mobile Tuesdays. You can
I
download that.
stand T-Mobile Tuesday. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Get
And
your
that's good
20 cents
that.
off gas.
Hmm. And the thing is, though, during renovations, you are so right that cable is probably definitely looking more appealing these days than before. Because honestly, we cut cable off a long time ago because it was like $150 a month. Now you're talking about it's like 60. I might have to look back into that. Then I don't know what I would do with all my shows, though.
No,
Be
but see,
watching.
look, we have Fios, and
Hmm.
with Fios,
Hmm.
they have Tubi, different the free
Okay.
streaming services that you can
Hmm.
have, and then they have YouTube as well, linked
Okay.
with
Okay.
TV. So,
Mhm. I guess it might
and
work.
then whatever shows your kids want to watch, Just tell them
Mhm.
report,
Just
report.
record
You can
it.
just go back and keep watching the seasons.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. So, do you have any final tips to leave anybody with? That you did give us quite a bit of nuggets. Is there certain tips that you would say we should do as far as banking better, making smarter choices?
Mm, I would say my biggest thing is always look at your account at least 3 times a day.
Okay.
Once when you wake up in the morning, because you don't know what has transpired the night before. You need to
Mm-hmm.
do a check in the middle of the day around lunchtime, and then one before you go to sleep at night.
Mm.
Just make sure that everything, and then just like you said, I adjust the budget. Ask
Yeah.
those questions. Utilize your app. Be a voice
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. Oh, if overdraft is killing you, hey, go to the bank and say you need to. I don't want this. Don't
Mm-hmm.
pay it. Stop it. Whatever the case is. And then, like I said, also you guys ask the bank, hey, I want to do a relationship review. They're probably gonna look at you like, what? What? They're gonna know you got that from a banker, like.
Right.
But yeah, I tell them I want a relationship review. I want to go over everything that's going on in my life right now and see, am I in the right products? How can you help me? How can you
Mm-hmm.
help me make money?
Mm.
Most of the time, we have CD special rates. I know somebody was talking about banks don't give good rates. We have CD specials. However, we can't call you and say, hey girl, I got this rate going on. You gotta come. No, I can't do that because
Mm.
we can't do that. But when you ask those questions and you take that, then maybe your
Mm-hmm.
banker might say, okay, I see they're taking a little initiative. Next time rates go up, I'm gonna call you. Hey, look, rates are going up. Just want to call and let you know, or hey, this is changing. Just be the advocate, and then also know a person at your branch.
Right.
Make it from you don't have to go to your bank all the time, like every week or so, but at least once a month, stop in there. Try to make one at least friend of a person.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, in an event when something does happen, you can go to that person. No matter if it's a teller, the person at the door, make nice with somebody because you
Right.
never know when you'll need them and
Mm-hmm.
how that they can help you.
That makes a lot of sense. I appreciate those tips. I wrote them down. I'm going to utilize that. You definitely taught me a lot about this, honestly. It's mind blowing how much we don't tend to know about our financial institutes and how much we don't know what we can do to help our financial situations. So I encourage you guys to all go out there and get the knowledge. Honestly, ask questions, read, make friends at the bank, definitely, so you can learn these things, because how else are we going to have generational wealth? Everybody wants generational wealth. You want to pass that wealth down to your kids and whatnot. And so you have to start somewhere by doing better, doing different than maybe our parents might have done before us, which is the same thing our parents would want for us in the first place, right? Parents always want us to do better than they did. And so that's one of those things that's a beautiful sentiment that you can leave with your kids, the knowledge of these things and or the tangible money. Of course, they want that too. That's easy. But definitely, I appreciate each and every last one of you guys for joining and staying tuned. And thank you so much, Miss Kirsten, for joining and sharing
I
us your
had a
insight.
great time. Thank you for having me. This was so great.
I'm so glad. It definitely was fun to me too, honestly. So again, if you guys have just joined the channel for the first time, press that subscribe button and make sure you press that notification button, because you definitely want to stay tuned for more information we're going to have coming your way. You guys have a great evening. I will see you guys next week, and definitely check out the channel on Sunday. I'm going to put that premiere out there. Have a good one.